And how about last night, Joshua? Did the same thing happen?
I'm sorry, sir, I can't deny it, but the same thing did.
My brother spent all night under her window.
Under both your windows. For 5 nights now, Mr. Frederick has slept in a rhododendron bush. You know, the one on the south side of the West Wing, by the statue they call Calliope. A classic character, sir. Well, every morning the housemaid has found his bed unrumpled, while the gardener, sir, has found the rhododendron bush rumpled. He gives them a jolt, Mr. Hugo, as who wouldn't it? I make light of it, so as to keep them in the dark, but one day they'll talk and Madame will know all about it.
Have you ever been in love, Joshua?
In love? Now, sir, think. I've been in Madame's services for 30 years. I'm much too old.
But before that?
I was too young.
Mine's the age for it, Joshua. I fall in love as a matter of routine, but not ludicrously like my brother.
No, sir, Mr. Frederick hasn't your style at all, sir.
And yet, we're the same age. It's odd, isn't it?
You're 10 minutes older, sir, remember that?
Yes, I know. But who would have thought that those 10 minutes would have taught me so much about women?
The young lady knows she can do whatever she likes with your brother, sir.
She may think she knows, but I've schemed a scheme.
I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Hugo.
I got up early this morning because this dawn is the dawn of the unexpected. What time is it?
12 o'clock.
By 12:30, I shall begin to loom big on the horizon.
Oh, and Mr. Hugo, I attempted to explain away the rhododendron, sir, by informing the gardener that a wolf had been observed making depredations in the vicinity, sir. I told him not to mention this, sir, on the grounds that it might account to the guests a measure of comprehensible alarm. Thank you, sir.
Joshua? Has Miss Diana come down yet?
No, not yet, Mr. Frederick.
Do I look tired, Joshua?
If I may be allowed to be frank, sir, yes, you do.
But you're quite mistaken, you know. I've never slept better.
I think I should inform you, sir. The gardener intends to set wolf traps in the rhododendrons.
Never mind, Joshua. I shall sleep in the azaleas.
And the housemaid, sir, the one who looks after the West Wing, she has been making horrified remarks of dissatisfaction. She came to me quite ready to drop.
Well, tell her next time to drop into my bed if she would be so kind and untidy it herself.
Mr. Frederick!
Why not? She's very charming, and when she's unmade it sufficiently, she can remake it, and things will be just as usual.
Very good, Mr. Frederick.
Diana, how nice to see you again. It's been like a lifetime since yesterday.
Which one of you is it now?
Oh, Diana, that's not a nice thing to ask me.
Ah, yes, it is you. You're looking at me like a little lost dog again. Did you get out of the wrong side of the rhododendrons? At first you looked so triumphant I thought you were your brother.
If you prefer him to me, I shall go away and die.
Oh, dear Frederick. You know I should only mistake you by accident. You're so alike.
Our hearts aren't alike.
No, that's true. But imagine me in the park one evening. I hear the twigs cracking behind me, and what sounds like your step. 2 arms go round me, and they feel like your arms. A mouth kisses me, and it feels like your mouth. How am I to have time to determine the right heart, Frederick?
But Diana, I've never put my arms around you in the park.
Are you sure?
Perfectly sure. It was my brother looking like me on purpose. It was my double crossing me. I have to go. I must talk to him.
Now, dear Frederick, don't go rushing to conclusions. I made it up. No one's been kissing me.
I beg your pardon, Diana. I completely believe you. But if Hugo loved you, I should kill myself.
That would be terrible. I should never know which of you was dead. Of course, it'd be a great help to your brother. He'd only have to drop a few tears for you at the funeral and then come and whisper in my ear. Shh, don't tell anyone. They've made a great mistake. This is really Hugo's funeral. How should I answer that?
But you couldn't be deceived for a moment, could you? If I were so exactly like Hugo in word and thought and deed, why, I should be Hugo.
Yes, that's true.
Diana, it's Hugo you love. Goodbye.
Are you mad? I hate him. Kiss me.
Diana.
Kiss me, you lost dog, and I'll find your way home for you.
I love you.
I love you too, Frederick. I suppose you're quite certain you're not Hugo? He's capable of absolutely anything.
Anything. Anything. He's capable of absolutely anything.
But dear heart, how could he suspect us? We've been so careful.
I tell you, I wouldn't trust that Hugo fellow an inch. Yesterday, he giggled at me, quite noticeably as I went by. Why should he have giggled if he didn't know all about us?
When did he giggle?
Last night, on the terrace after dinner?
Last night, we were all there together. He choked himself on cigar smoke. He was coughing.
He was coughing to disguise his giggle. But that didn't fool me for a moment.
Anyway, why should this young man, who has nothing to do with me, giggle because he's found out we're having a flirtation?
Never mind why. Mistrust him. To begin with, there's that fantastic likeness to his brother.
He can't help that.
My dear Dorothy, if he had any sense of propriety, he would never allow it to go on. He revels in it. He copies his brother's clothes.
No, dear. Frederick copies his.
Well, it's the same thing. Now, I have 8 brothers.
And they all look exactly like you?
Not at all.
I see. Then this doesn't help to convince me that this boy will say anything to Messerschmitt.
Say anything, no. But little jokes and innuendos when we're all in the drawing room? Yes! A mysterious chuckle in the middle of a meal? Or a giggle like the one you thought was choking him with cigar smoke? Yes, most definitely.
Little jokes and chuckles will go right over Messerschmitt's head. He suffers from terribly poor reception.
It's we who would have a poor reception if once he knew. Don't forget, Dorothy. You're his paramour, and I'm his private secretary. We're both completely dependent on your magnet.
Dearest heart, use the most curious words.
Magnet?
No.
Private secretary.
No. Patrice, darling, I know I give him the pleasure of paying my bills, and every night I let him trail along to my room to kiss my hand. But that means nothing, and you mean everything.
Dorothy, do be careful. We're in the winter gardens.
On a lovely spring morning.
The season is immaterial. All this glass, everyone can see us. We're completely exposed.
Danger! Oh, that's wonderful. I love it. I like being mad more than anything. Did I ever tell you about that evening where I went down to a little dockside cafe in Monte Carlo? Absolutely naked. Aside from my cloak and my diamonds, quite alone too amongst all those drunken brutes.
Monte Carlo?
A little dockside cafe where the croupier used to sip on a secret bump between sessions. I just smiled to see how their hands shook when they raised their glasses. So let him come, let him catch us, let him murder us. I shall drive him off with a lash of contempt. It'll be magnificent.
Yes, Dorothy.
Don't forget, Patrice, you're from a most distinguished family. And I, after all, am Lady India. He should be very grateful we've taken the trouble to infuriate him. Money isn't everything.
Oodles. Whatever do you mean, Hugo, that Mr. Messerschmitt has oodles?
He's as rich as Croesus.
Ah, I see. But what does he do with it all?
Eats noodles.
You're being altogether too playful, Hugo.
It's quite true. At every meal, without butter or salt. And drinks water.
How spectacular. And you say Dorothy India is ruining him.
Oh, she would be if anyone could be. But there's too much of it even for her.
You're a scandalmonger, Hugo, and I won't listen to you. You forget, I'm your aunt, and India's aunt. I'm an elderly woman, and I never listen to anyone. Capulet, go and look for my handkerchief. Yes, madame. Thank you, Hugo, dear. Now, between ourselves, can you really imagine he's keeping her?
Between ourselves, without the shadow of a doubt.
It's monstrous, Hugo. Humiliating.
Utterly monstrous. But, between ourselves, why humiliating?
She's a Fitzhenry, and through me it's a Mort. If only your Uncle Antony were alive, it would kill him. Dear Hugo, people are so unkind. They'll think I invited Dorothy and this nabob at the same time on purpose. They'll say I'm a party to it. So should I.
Everyone knows you invited Mr. Messerschmitt, his daughter, because Frederick asked you to. He's going to announce his engagement to Diana tomorrow.
Yes, another puppy-witted piece of folly. Fancy becoming so infatuated with this girl that he even has to ask her to marry him. When he was young, he looked so sad and resigned when he'd come to kiss me on Christmas morning. I used to call him St. Pancras, but now the lamb's to be sacrificed. Can you bear to imagine him being delivered over gagged and bound to this Diana Messerschmitt and her millions?
No, Aunt.
No, I should think not. If it were you, it would have been different. But with poor little Frederick, it won't be funny.
If the marriage takes place, Aunt.
Who's to prevent it now?
Who knows who?
Here's your handkerchief, madame. Trundle me into the sun, if you will. Good morning, Mr. Messerschmitt. Did you sleep well last night?
I never sleep, madame.
Neither do I. We must make an appointment with one another and gossip while the rest of them snore. It will help to kill time. It takes such a lot of killing that animal, don't you think? person, Mr. Messerschmidt. Are you?
I am told so, madame.
How wonderful. We can be wicked together. That will amuse me very much. Push, dear. Trundle me away. I told you I wanted to be in the sun. Oh, Mr. Messerschmidt, my butler tells me that you only eat noodles.
That is so, without butter and without salt.
And I believe you are a good friend of my niece, Dorothy.
Yes, I have the pleasure of Lady India's friendship.
Dorothy, insomnia, and nothing but noodles. What an interesting life. Good morning, dear Romanville.
My dear friend,
Her train gets in at 12:30.
no.
It certainly does.
I'm convinced it's all a great mistake. It's making me ill with nerves. Are you sure you're not mad?
Quite sure. How about you?
Not at all sure. Suppose I don't cooperate?
A scandal, Romanville.
What scandal, for God's sake? My relationship with this girl is completely irreproachable.
Suppose I say to my aunt, our dear Romanville, feeling the approach of springtime in the air, and in order to make his visit to you a cheerful one, has gone to fetch his little friend over to stay at the inn at Saint Fleur, and goes to see her secretly 3 times a week. What do you say then?
That it isn't true. That I'm only interested in this girl as I'm interested in butterflies or old furniture. Is it my fault if I'm known as a patron of the arts?
No.
The child needed a holiday before she went back into the ballet. Do understand that, Hugo? She was extremely pale. Anyone would have done the same thing. It's entirely a question of common humanity. I said to her, come spend a few days at Avon with your mother. Who, for God's sake, is going to give me trouble because I give a holiday to a poor girl who needs one? Certainly not your good aunt, who buttonholes me every year for her local charities.
To a poor girl who needs a holiday, no. But to your mistress, Romanville. Well, you know my aunt.
I assure you she isn't my mistress, not the least bit.
Who's going to believe you?
Everybody, because it's true.
That's no help. It doesn't seem likely.
So according to you, the truth means nothing.
Nothing, dear boy, if no one believes it. Let's go amiably into lunch. I've warned Joshua and he'll let me know. I shall come out and have a word with them. And then, during coffee, Joshua can let my aunt know that your niece has arrived.
But suppose my real niece comes on the same train.
That's no problem. I sent her a telegram from you. You told her my aunt's invitation had been cancelled for the time being.
It's a trap! And all because you found me drinking an innocent orgeade with this little girl at a cake shop in Saint Fleur.
Exactly.
You're the devil!
Almost.
Would you just tell me what you're up to?
A huge and dark design. There's the second gong. So into luncheon. You should know everything before you're very much older. If the ladies will be so nice.
I will go and inform Mr. Hugo of their arrival.
Isn't it luxurious, Isabel? Such taste, such grandeur. Now this is the sort of atmosphere where I really feel myself.
Yes, Mother.
Some people, you know, can only breathe when there's beauty and luxury. Take that away from them and they become quite...
Yes, Mother.
Always remember, dear, your grandfather was the biggest wallpaper dealer in town. We even had 2 servants at the same time. Not counting shop assistants, of course. When I was your age, your grandfather would never have let me go out alone.
No, Mother.
No, he made always follow 3 steps behind me. 3 steps. It was wonderful.
Yes, Mother.
Oh, did you see the butler?
Yes, Mother.
Oh, that dignity, that sort of quilted voice, extremely polite, but also slightly scornful. If the ladies would be so good as to take a seat. To take a seat. You see how beautifully he chose his words. Ah, you know, my dear, my dreams of you, there's always a butler like that in the background.
Oh, Mother, you know it's not...
Ah, yes, it has. It's been a dream of mine for quite some time that you'll have everything I've missed. I don't say very much, I know, but there are times when I suffer, like when I see your hands getting rough and red from washing up.
It's the best way, Mother.
And I know it means nothing to you because you haven't my sensitive nature. If only I were a little stronger. But even so, I have to think of my aunt. I have to preserve my hands for my piano. And then I never knew what it was to want for anything when I was a girl. So different from you, my poor child. You roll up your sleeves, you sing something, and abracadabra, everything's done. You think no more about it.
No, please, Mother.
And I admire you for it, but with my upbringing and all my dreams, it came to nothing. I can never do it. I still have my dreams, but now they're for you. A quite different future for you, a future of luxury and beauty, with a little corner somewhere for your mother. You're artistic, you're attractive. A little more commonplace than I was, perhaps, but that's always But interesting and attractive. I'm sure you'll please someone. By the way, why do you suppose that young man brought you here for?
Thank you for being so punctual.
Not at all. Punctuality is the politeness of princes, I always think. And I'm sure you'll agree.
Oh, yes, indeed. This is Miss Isabel? I wasn't mistaken.
She's a charming child.
More than charming.
Mr. Ronville must have spoken all about her to you.
He has indeed.
He's one of our dear Parisian friends.
Of course. How do you feel about this little adventure, Miss Isabel? The most important thing is for you to enjoy it.
She's thrilled about it.
All Mr. Romanville said was that you asked us up to your house this evening.
Nothing else.
No, nothing.
I expect Mr. Ronville meant it all to be a surprise.
And why would you think I should ask you to come here?
I don't know. To dance, I expect. I am a dancer.
Not only to dance.
Not only to dance! Now you're making me really inquisitive.
There is a ball being held in this house tonight. And I need you here to be very beautiful. More beautiful indeed than anyone else.
I?
Yes. Are you afraid?
A little. I'm not very beautiful, and so...
I rang up Paris this morning, and Rosetta Sarah are sending their best dresses and some of their best fitters to choose from. And you will be ready at the first note of the violins.
But what am I supposed to do?
Only to go serenely through the night, like a butterfly venturing on moonlight. At the first note of dawn, we will set you free. The engagement will be paid for in the usual way, and the dress will be hers.
Oh, but we didn't think for
But
one...
I thought. Now, I must be getting back to the dining hall, or they'll begin to wonder where I am. Here is Joshua. He shall show you to your room, and your supper will be brought up to you. No one must know you are in this house. I'm sorry I can't make it any less of a mystery to you. As soon as I can, I shall come down and tell you what I need you to do.
If the ladies would be so good as to follow me.
Of course. What a distinguished boy. Did you see, dear, how he kissed my hand? Look up, dear. Are you dreaming?
No, Mother. Is that the one they call Hugo? Is he the one who asked us here?
Well, of course. So handsome, don't you think? Now, come along. We're keeping the butler waiting. Where are you, my dear? The moon?
Yes, Mother.
Initiative. If only one's governess, when one was a girl, had taught one something practical, like running up a flag of distress, or firing a gun. Oh, thank heavens, I'm on some sort of navigation route. Joshua, Joshua, put into land for a dear moment, my man, and rescue me. I've been washed up here 15 minutes ago, and I haven't seen a living creature since.
Not one, madame?
Not one. And they say the world is overpopulated. I sent Mademoiselle Capulet to fetch the list of guests out of my bureau. I might have asked her to restock the lake with carp the time it's taking her. Oh, there you are at last. Where have you been?
You said the list was in the left-hand bottom drawer, madame, but it was in the right-hand top drawer.
That's just another way of looking at it. Now, well, get to work. I must try and remember who all these names belong to. It's so difficult nowadays. No one has any proper sense of family. People have perfectly good names, and they go and produce the most unexpected faces to go with them. I remember an evening at the Baroness Grave Tarot's when there were... Where is everybody? Capulet! Are you listening? I was saying, I remember an evening at the Baroness Grave Tarot's when... Well, mend me! Joshua! I was saying, I remember an evening at the Baroness Grave Tarot's when there were so many uninvited guests that the Baroness imagined she was at someone else's party. and she spent the whole evening looking for the... Oh, must you do that? Oh, deliverance! Now, Joshua, we don't want any unfortunate episodes like that, don't we, Joshua?
Certainly not, Madame. Though, as Madame says, faces these days have taken a haphazard turn. Most inconsiderate.
And you will have to look at them very carefully, Joshua, with great penetration, and so shall I, whenever the occasion offers. If you stare fixedly at an interloper's frontal bone, fixedly, Joshua, for a count of 9, a look of guilt will steal over it at once.
I hope and trust, Madame, that no such occasional offering will ensue. It would be a cloud on an otherwise evening of nice and aristocratic joy, which none of us would like to have to denounce.
You're crumbling into a benevolent old man, Joshua. Denouncing. That's delicious. And I depend on you to see that we have no trespassers. Now, come with me. Wheel, Capulet. Wheel, my dear.
I feel so excited, Madame. I really do. Like a little yeasty bun in a good oven.
Joshua, what does the Prince of Palook look like? Ah, yes, like a rather half-hearted resolution.
All right, now walk towards me. Turn. Now walk away again. You're perfect. What on earth are you trembling for?
Scared.
Scared of what? Of going to a party?
Yes, I suppose so. The violins tuning up, a house full of people, all this very moment getting ready for the grand occasion. And scared of the mystery you're making of it.
And scared of me?
Yes.
You feel I'm going to drag you into some shameful scene or other. Romanville has been maligning me.
He said that...
And of course you believed him.
No.
You should have. When you learn what I have planned for this evening, you'll discover I'm even worse than Romanville imagined. But you don't have to be afraid of bad people. They're just poor, complicated devils like everyone else. It's only the fools who are formidable. And here he is. We were just talking about you. How are you this evening?
Very poorly indeed. I've been looking forward to this party very much, but now I feel as though I are going to an execution. I can't see why you want to go on with it.
He's afraid you'll lose your head among the knives and forks, or use a dessert spoon on the foie gras, and they'll all leap to their feet and shout, "This can't be his niece at all! She's an imposter!" Walk away a little. Turn. Look at that, Romanville. There's a niece for you. Between ourselves, what's your niece really like?
She's a rather plain girl. Her nose is not perhaps as small as others, but she has an extremely nice character.
It's clearly high time you replaced her. Look at this girl, in a dress like the smoke of bonfires. You'll never see a niece more transparent, less of this world, or so entirely fashioned for a singular night of dancing in the early summer.
Hold yourself upright. When you're presented to people, don't address them by their titles. Always wait for an older person to speak to you.
Dear man, you're wasting your breath. Isabel was waiting for older people to speak to her in the womb. My aunt has an infallible instinct for quality, and has given her a room facing onto the garden. If she hadn't the highest regard for her, she would have given her a room facing the park.
Not at all. I'm facing the park.
You see what I mean?
May I come in? May I come in? I simply had to come see the dress.
I thought it was agreed you should stay in your room. We don't want people asking who you are.
I came on tiptoe the whole way. You'd have thought I was a shadow. I'm dying of curiosity. How charming, how wonderfully elegant. Stand up straight, dear. Oh, what good taste. I'm quite sure Mr. Hugo chose it for you himself.
Not at all. Your daughter chose it.
And I'm sure you had something to do with it. Either that or my daughter guessed your taste and chose it to please you.
Mother!
Oh, turn round, dear. And again. Stand up straight. She's such a constant surprise to me, you know. Dressed, she thinks she's such a skinny gilly. Undressed, she's almost plump. Rasputin, her ballet master, says quite simply because she is well built. And as a matter of fact, and I don't say this because I am her mother, but she has very good legs. This gentleman can bear me out, can't you?
She looks extremely pale. I think we should give her a tonic. That's it, a splendid tonic.
Pale? How can you say so? Look at her. She's pink as a strawberry.
The country air has done some good already. There's nothing like the country. Nothing like it.
How can you say so? The country air is death to her and to me. We're just two hothouse flowers, two Parisians, two artists, and in the country we just wait to be eaten by sheep.
Her health comes first.
He domineering. His friends must do what he says. He can't bear not to have them with him. When he knew he was coming here, he wouldn't rest until the child came to.
She looked extremely pale. I said to myself,
Yes, yes, and we forgive you because we know you do it out of friendship, just as you did when you made her learn to swim.
everybody should learn to swim.
He came to the baths himself to watch her, and one day, he fell in without taking his clothes off.
Didn't I say so? Doesn't that prove everybody should learn to swim? Come along now, we've chatted quite enough. Hugo must be wanting to give Isabel her instructions. And I know you'd like to see the carriages arriving. You can come up to my room. It faces north, but you can still see everybody who comes to the door.
Yes, that's a splendid idea. We'll leave them together. Of course, I'm dying to know what the mystery is about. But Isabel will tell me in the morning. Very well. I shall hide away like a dilapidated old moth who's been told not to dance around the candle.
That's right, like a dilapidated old moth. Up we go, I can hear the first carriages arriving.
And you shall have your supper brought up to you.
Just across. Across to the glass of water poured into cinders. Oh, enjoy yourself, you fortunate girl. I was 20 once.
And she's blushing.
It's embarrassment.
Needlessly.
It's easy enough to talk. My cheeks burn and my eyes are stinging. I have a lump in my throat and I should like to be dead.
She amuses me.
She might amuse me too, if only.
If only you'd heard what they call a society woman trying to put up the bidding for her daughter. You wouldn't be so indignant. Your mother's discretion itself.
I'm not plump or skinny glee. I've not got very good legs and I don't want to stay here.
You can't go yet.
I feel so ashamed.
Why should you be? Because this party and the slight air of mystery has kindled your mother's imagination. It's because she likes to think I'm in love with you and tries to throw you at my head. It's most natural. I'm rich. I belong to an old family. And ever since I was marriageable, I've heard mothers hammering out that old tune. If you're embarrassed because of me, forget your blushes. I've heard the tune so often, I'm deaf to it.
But I can still hear it.
I can see that. And it seems that it's most unpleasant for you. I'm sorry.
Have you considered Romanville?
Oh, no, I never do that. Romanville is scrupulous and considerate, but not very considerable. I saw you with him in a cake shop at Saint-Fleur, and thought you would be very useful for this evening. That is all.
But I think you should know.
I don't want to know anything else at all.
I see. I only wanted to tell you. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been crying and my eyes will be red. Will you excuse me?
Of course. Joshua,
Mr. Hugo?
does anyone suspect anything?
No one, sir. The dress shop people and the shoe shop person have gone, sir, unobserved. In any case, making preparations for the ball.
You'll keep an eye on the mother.
As far as the human eye can be kept, sir. Though I beg your pardon, she escaped my notice just now. What's as head
If
of staff.
only she'll content herself with trotting between here and her room, it'll be all right. But she'll worry me considerably once evening's begun.
Very good, sir. But supposing lady were to scream, we'd have to look at all the eventualities in the face, sir.
Of course. Tell her I told you to lock her in and promise her 200 francs extra.
Very good, sir. Excuse me, sir, but do you think that amount to be sufficient to quench this particular individual?
Quite sufficient.
Certainly, sir.
Is everything all right again?
Yes. No signs of tears now.
It's very useful to be able to disappear and come back with a fresh new smile, ready to pick up the conversation where you left off. The poor naked face of the male has to fight for a facade as best it can. It's almost 10 o'clock. Your dress makes you look like Helen of Troy. The first carriages are grinding the gravel in the drive, and the fiddlers are rubbing rosin on their bow. And it's time I told you what I brought you here for.
High time.
I had to get to know you a little at first. If you had been a fool, I should have thought something up for you. Something picturesque and sentimental. That's what I was thinking of when I asked you to come over here. Something conventional. That's always the easiest. But once in a very great while, something conventional is too threadbare for the circumstance, and a man is left standing stupidly with his intelligence on his arm like a rolled umbrella he hadn't expected to use. So much the worse for me. Now I shall have to go talk without any preparation at all.
I'm so sorry.
Not at all. It's my fault for being such a poor judge of character. I ought to have been able to tell at a glance. You're not romantic, you're tender. You're not a fool, you have simplicity. You're not hard, you're exacting. Each one is almost like the other, but in fact they're opposites. This will teach me for looking carelessly at girls in cake shops. I had thought of everything except one. I didn't expect you to look at me with such penetrating eyes.
If it upsets you, I can shut them.
Not at all. Your penetration will save time. I can cut the preamble and get to the point. I have a brother who is addled with love for a rich, young, beautiful girl, and this party is in her honor.
And she doesn't love him.
She's engaged to him, which means she gives him her lips 2 or 3 times a day and lets him have contact with her pretty lukewarm hand occasionally, while her mind drifts to other things. And she does all the gestures expected of her, and she even tells him she loves him, but she doesn't.
Does she love someone else?
I should say she's quite incapable of loving anybody. But as she's a little multimillionairess, badly spoiled, and blown sky high by every breeze of a whim, she's made herself believe that yes, she does love someone else.
And that person is...
As you so quickly guessed, myself. Now you must tell me she must be incredibly stupid, for my brother is at least 1,000 times nicer than I am.
What does he look like?
You see, that's the devil of preparing speeches in advance. I forgot to tell you the most important part. We're twins.
You look exactly like each other.
Physically, we're so alike it's neither permissible nor proper. But morally we're as different as day and night. My brother is caring, sensible, and intelligent, and I am the reverse. But nevertheless, she loves me and not him.
And you?
And I?
You love her, perhaps.
I love nobody. That's why I can orchestrate this evening's little comedy with complete serenity. I'm acting Providence tonight, deflecting the influence of the stars. The stars twinkling up there without an inkling of what's going to happen tonight. Now, this is what I want you to do.
Tell me.
To begin with, unquestioning obedience. And keep your eye on me at all time. I can only give you the broad outline of events. The rest will have to be filled in as the evening goes on. But don't be afraid. I shall always be there. I shall be behind the screen, or behind the sofa where you go to sit with your partner, or under the tablecloth, or lurking in the shadows in the garden. I shall always be there, always watching, and always whispering my orders to you. All you've got to do is become the center of interest. This party must revolve around you and no one else.
You're expecting too much of me. I can never do it.
I can do it. Don't be afraid. Be yourself. Say whatever you want to say. Do whatever you want to do. If you suddenly feel like being alone, be alone. I shall expound you brilliantly. I shall make everything you do or say seem enchanting, extravagant, and witty. And I shall make them think I'm in love with you.
Will you?
And you shall make them think you're in love with my brother.
But if your brother's in love with this other girl, he won't even look at me.
Being a fool, perhaps he won't. But even if he never takes his eyes off Diana, her eyes will tell him that you're the beauty of the evening. She will be so jealous.
It'll only make him love her more.
You think so? What a pretty idea of love you have in the theater. No, put your mind at rest. My brother is going to love you. He's walking asleep along a parapet of infatuation. Diana isn't remotely the sort of girl he would want to be in love with. And we're going to waken him.
Suppose he should die of it.
Whoever died of love.
Hugo! Oh, there you are. Catastrophe!
What do you mean, catastrophe?
My dear boy, the whole idea's exploded. Thank God.
What are you talking about?
I was shepherding your mother back through the corridors, relying on the pink, fairly dark, and we turned a corner, slap into Capulet,
Capulet?
his aunt's companion.
Well, you could pass that off all right.
I passed right on. But what did they do? They threw themselves like a pair of idiots into each other's arms and burst into tears. It seems they took piano lessons together at the Maubeuge Conservatoire. They've been thinking each other dead for 20 years, but astonishing as it may be, they're alive. They're there still, looped around each other's necks, telling their life stories. Thank God both are talking at once and neither knows what the other one is saying. I don't know what you're going to do, but there's one thing for it. Flight. Go up and change. I shall say you've taken ill. Your grandmother's had a stroke. You've had a telegram. I'll say something or other. I've got an imagination too. Go up and change.
Stay down here, I forbid you to go.
My little piece of excitement.
Yes. What exactly have you been saying to her?
Oh, my dears, what bliss can there be in friendship? You've often heard me speak of Geraldine Capulet, haven't you, Isabel? Well, I thought her dead, but she's alive! My dear, sweet soul, she's alive. What have I been saying to her? Why, everything, everything! You know, the end of my artistic career, my unhappy marriage. In fact, all my disappointments. You don't know what Geraldine has been to me. Both of us with golden hair. We're always taken for sisters.
And how did you explain your being in this house?
Quite simply, you should think I'd be taken off my guard. I told them I was in the orchestra.
Oof.
But it wasn't a fortunate choice. It appears they're all men. So, you know what I did? I have complete confidence in Geraldine. And I made her swear in a long friendship that she wouldn't tell a soul. And I told her everything.
Everything?
Everything.
What do you mean everything? You know nothing about it.
No, but I'm quick with my little romance as a big child, really. I'm incorrigible. I embroidered a little figment.
A little figment.
What little figment?
A little rosy-colored figment. Oh dear, I believe you're going to scold me.
Let's get to the point. What exactly have you said to her?
Nothing. Words. Foolishness, daydreams. I said you were in love with my little girl, and so you're bringing her here without a lot of to-do, and so you're pretending that she was Romeo's niece.
How could you, Mother?
Good heavens! By now, my dear Hugo, your aunt knows the whole thing. I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm leaving. It's a shame, really. I shall never be able to come here again. Our whole life gets altered by accidents. Go up and change, for heaven's sake.
I must find Capulet. I have to tell her to keep her mouth shut.
Where are you off to, Hugo dear?
Nowhere in particular.
Then stop behaving like a cul-de-sac. I've come to see my youngest guest. Why hide her away in a hole and corner? I congratulate you, my dear friend.
Congratulate me? Why congratulate me?
She's very exquisite.
No.
No.
Yes.
What are you talking about? Her cheeks are like roses. One dance will put her on top of the world.
She's afraid of getting a telegram.
That's a curious anxiety. My, what a pretty dress you are wearing. Is that a gift from her? You generous man.
Certainly not.
Who told me it was your first ball?
It wasn't I.
Was it you, Hugo? No, I should think not. You don't know her. I hope someone has introduced you.
Someone has introduced us, Aunt.
Why didn't you ask her to dance? They're playing the first waltz.
I was just about to. Will you give me the pleasure of this waltz, mademoiselle? She's bluffing. She doesn't know a thing.
She knows everything.
Now, let me think. If my memory serves, she's on her mother's side, she's a Fripont petard.
Yes, she is, but,
Then if she's a Fripont petard, she must be a Casaubon.
Yes, perhaps she is, but,
And a Dandinette.
Yes, I know who you're speaking of.
My poor Antony was a Casaubon through the Marsouses and the VVs. But he is dead.
Yes, he is dead.
But I'm still alive, Romanville, and I like to be quite clear about my relations, and I'd like to see exactly how this girl fits in. Now, you were saying her mother, who is a petard, is dead.
Dead.
What about one of her cousins, the Lavelasses?
Also dead.
The one I went to school with? I don't mean the younger one.
Dead.
Both of them?
Both of them.
What about her on her father's side?
All dead.
Why? Poor thing. She's living in a morgue.
A charnel house.
Oh my!
I told them I lost my boa.
To see you, to think that it really is you, it's like a dream!
It really is, isn't it? The whole thing's such a romance. It really is.
He worships her. You can see in every look he gave!
He's absurdly rich. It really is the romance.
He's handsome as a lion, too. You must help me, my dear. My little girl will die of it!
I'll do anything and everything. The whole thing's such a romance. It really is. Ah, dear, our wild whirling days at Auberge. Do you remember them? The cake shop, Marius Le Bon,
And the ice cream at Pinto's.
and the first duet we played together at the charity concert for the Auberge Widows Fund. That waltz.
That very waltz.